Good morning, all my crafty friends. This is Chris Gray from Due North Stamping. I am an independent demonstrator with Stampin UP based in northern Wisconsin. And today I am going to share with you a scrapbooking project. And for that I am going to be using mainly Stampin UP products. A couple of them are going to be retired, for which I apologize, but most of them are current, and I will give you measurements and things as I go along. Most of the measurements you won't need because everybody's scrapbook is going to be different and nobody's going to be using any pictures of mine that are going to be the same size, which I hope you're not anyway, because then you're creepy. Anyway, so the photo album that's available now through Stampin UP is on page 127 of the new catalog, the annual catalog from May 2021 through April of 2022. And it's on page 127, and the album that they have available now is a 6x8" album, and I don't have that album yet. I ordered it, but I haven't received it, so I'm going to use a 12x12 sheet of paper for my scrapbook layout, which is an album that I currently have. And you can obviously adjust your scrapbook pages to whatever size page you have, and then just use whatever products you have on hand. And I'm just going to be doing a full 12x12 sheet of paper, but I'm only going to be using one picture because it's a picture that is, near and dear to my heart from when I was out visiting my son in Spokane. And there's a funny story which I'll share with you as I go along. But anyway, to begin with, I kind of have an idea of what I'm doing, but I don't want to show the whole thing at one time. So what I started out with was out there they mostly have conifer trees. They don't have a lot of deciduous trees, meaning like pine trees and different pine trees they have out there. They don't have the ones that we have here, like the oak and the maple. So this reminded me so much of the scenery out there with the tree and the sky and stuff. So I went ahead and stamped one of those on there, and I will show you how I did that by stamping another smaller image for another part of the page. And I will show you how I did that. I'm going to get a piece of scratch paper, and for this I'm using my blending brushes, which I think are currently on back order with Stampin UP, but they are wonderful brushes and they really blend evenly, and I just love using them. So to begin with, to make my little scene, I'm going to start with some balmy blue, and I'm just going to go over the top of it lightly just to give me a light background, not real heavy. Then I'm going to take from the, let's see, where is it? From the Beauty of Friendship stamp set, I'm going to be using the tall branchy image as well as the pine tree image to fill it in, and that's what I used on this one. And for the branch part and the trunk, I'm going to be using soft suede ink, and I'm going to take my stamp, if I can find it. Oh, here, jeepers. Got any closer, it would bite me. Here we go. Anyway, so I'm stamping that just on the left-hand side, kind of. And set that to the side. Then I'm going to take Evening Evergreen, which is one of our new in colors, which will be here for 2 years now. It just came out, and I think it's just a beautiful green color to use for trees and things like that. So I'm going to just kind of line that up over the top of the branch. You don't have to be perfect on that. Just kind of line it up as you think, and then press down and see what a wonderful image that gives you. I think it's just beautiful. Then I'm going to make some clouds. And to make my clouds, I saw this technique posted on Facebook, or I think it was Facebook or YouTube, and I really don't remember who showed it. And if I knew, I would give them credit. So if anybody knows who initially showed this technique, I'd really appreciate it, and I'll give them credit for it. But it's just using a piece of paper towel and a cotton ball and some balmy blue ink, and I just dab my cotton ball in the ink and then line up. I just rip the paper towel to make it kind of look like a cloud pattern, and then just kind of wipe off from the paper towel onto the paper. Not real heavy. You can always add more, but you can't take it away if you put too much on. And then look and see how it is, and that looks pretty good. So then I'm just going to alter my pattern a little bit over here, and do the same thing, coming off the paper towel onto the paper, and just make it look like a cloud pattern. And you don't want to be too symmetrical because clouds certainly aren't symmetrical. And just kind of go along. Whoop, that got kind of smudgy. That's the way that goes. All right. It's a really dark, cloudy day there, apparently. Maybe there's a storm coming in. Haha. And we'll kind of go off that way. And maybe a little lighter over here. That got a little dark, but that's all right. And then I think I'm just going to blend more of the blue down on the bottom because the tree is going to be in the sky there, the branches and stuff. And then I will take my Granny Apple Green, and for that, I'm going to use that for the grass, and just put that on the bottom. And then to make it look like the tree is standing on something, I'm just going to take my dark crumb cake marker, and I'm just going to give it some ground, like just to ground it a little bit. I'm just going to scribble some ink on the bottom of that to make it look like it's standing on some ground. And then what I didn't do on my other one, which I'm going to do right now, not on this one. So that's that. And I'm going to put that on, well, maybe I won't put it on, maybe I'll put it on balmy blue instead. It's a process as you go along. And this one, I was going to add some birds. And these birds are from the High Tide stamp set. And I don't know if that's available anymore. I will post a notification on my video whether or not it's still available. But I'm using the birds from this stamp set. And I'm going to do those in black, Memento black ink. So I'm just going to ink those up. Whoops. Whoops-a-daisy. Anyway, ink those up. Press down. And I should have used my Pierce mat underneath, but I didn't. But that doesn't look too bad. So those are my birds. And this is my other scene. And I think I will cut a piece of maybe balmy blue to use as a mat for that. So let's just get a piece of balmy blue out. So that's big enough. Whoopsies. There we go. And I'll get my paper trimmer. And I'm just going to kind of go around it. I'm not going to measure it. I'm just going to kind of eyeball it. I want a margin about like that. And about like that. There. Alrighty. So that's done. Then, that goes there. I had made a tag type thing for my sentiment that not sentiment, but my journaling that I wanted to do on this. But I didn't want my journaling to be on top so everyone could read it unless they, really wanted to. I'm going to put it on a tag that goes inside of a pocket. So for that, I mounted this card that came from the Hand Pen Petals. Where did that go? Here. Hand Pen Memories and More card pack. And I just took this card and I'm going to mount that onto the front of a pool party mat, just whatever measurements I wanted, just so it's big enough so that this tag will be able to slide in and out. And I journaled my message onto a piece of just note paper and then backed it with pool party paper so that it was a little bit firmer. And then I'm just going to mount that to the bottom of this because I want there to be room on top to make a hole, and then I can attach a little ribbon so they can pull the tag out of the pocket that I'm making. So I'm just going to mount my story onto my black mat. Leaving room at the top. And then I'm going to mount this card onto the pool party mat. Oops. Yep, that's right. Okay, I mounted some tear and tape on the back already to form my pocket. And this is the real narrow tear and tape. I don't know. Let me check and see if that's available. I'm not sure if it is or not. Let's see. Tear and tape. No, it's just the 1/4 inch. This must have been retired. It's a narrower, because I didn't have much room and I didn't want to use the wider stuff because I didn't think my little tag would fit in there if I did that. So first I'm going to take my 1-inch circle punch, which I think is also retired, and I apologize for that, but you can use any circle punch that you have. There are lots out there, and I'm just going to make a little punch there so that when you put the tag in, you'll have a little place to put your finger, like a pull tab thing. Then I'm going to take my hole punch. Yeah, this is just a hole punch that I've had forever. It's not a Stampin' Up! Product, but I'm just going to try and make it as central as I can. Oh, let's see. That looks about right. And then that will go in there, and I'll put a piece of ribbon or something on that so that can be pulled out. Then I printed off the computer. I cheated because I didn't want to take forever to make the letters, but I printed off the Spokane as well as this little Centennial Trail or not, which you'll find out the story to that as we go along here. And then a little note letting you know what the whole story is going to be about. It's the day Danielle took me to the Centennial Trail, in quotation marks. And I'm going to cut the Spokane words out of using the layered triangles or rectangle stitched framelits. But you can see that it's not long enough, so I'll show you how to extend. If you have something that's too long for a die, you can extend the die so that it actually will work, even though the words are longer than what the die actually is. So I'll show you that. And this is my picture of me on the Centennial Trail where my daughter-in-law dropped me off. And I'm going to mount that on a piece of balmy blue cardstock. And I cut this using the Scalloped Contours dies. This was the largest one that has the scallops and the little holes in it. And I'm using that. And then I used the largest rectangle stitched framelit to cut the balmy blue mat for underneath. And then I also have a black, so it's just a very narrow black margin around the edge. So that's going to go there. That's going to go there. Spokane will go up there. And I think that's it. So now let's get to cutting. I'm going to cut out the Centennial Trail or not sentiment or words with this die, which is from the, what is that? This is from the Potted Succulents dies. It's just a label die that I just love. I love the shape of it. So I'm going to be using my little mini machine to cut that out. And I will show you how I'm doing that right now. Taking my little mini cut and emboss machine. Move some of my stuff out of the way here so you can see. And using plate number 1 and one plate number 2. Then my paper. And then my die. And I'm going to line that up so it's as in the middle as possible. And then put my second number 2 plate on top and kind of stagger them because they like to go in kind of staggered, not one on top, right on top of the other. It rolls through easier if they're staggered. And then just roll it through. And there's your sentiment cut out perfectly. All right, so that's that. Then for the Spokane sentiment, let's put that back in my die pouch so I don't lose it. Not that I've ever done that, of course. Ha ha. Let's do the Spokane one. And again, we're going to use the number 1 and number 2. Then Spokane. But when I put this in, I'm only going to put the plate, the top plate, to before this end cut right there. And that won't cut then, since this plate isn't over the top of it. This won't cut. It'll just cut up to the edge of the plate. So I'm going to run that through. And then as you can see, it only cut up to there. So then I'm going to take it this way and I'm going to line it back up. You can kind of feel the ridges in the die lining up with the ridges on the paper. And I'll bring that back over here so you can see. And I'm only going to put the plate so that it's not over that end again. Make sure it's lined up in the grooves so that it's going to cut all the way through and evenly and straight. All right. Put that on top. And let's see how we did. Hopefully it's straight. Thinking it's not going to be. No, I don't think I lined it up straight. It's kind of hard to do with the camera in the way. Nope, it's not straight. But for what I'm using it for, that's fine. I'll just snip off a little. I'll trim a little of this off, and it's no big deal. Normally, it's a lot easier to do that when you're not trying to line it up underneath of the camera thing here. So that's good enough for me. But as I said, it's a lot easier when you're just doing it without a camera thing and apparatus in your way. So I'm just going to put that die back in its pouch. Then I will mount that on a piece of, I think also I will use, maybe I'll use black. Yeah, maybe I'll use a mat of black. Make it stand out a little bit. So once again, I'll get my paper trimmer out. I'm dropping things right and left here. There. And there. So anyway, if you want to know the story, I'd always wanted to, my son and daughter-in-law lived in Spokane Valley in Washington, and I had been jogging and running and things like that at home here in Wisconsin, and I always wanted to run from Idaho to Washington, and it's called a Centennial Trail, and it's a wonderful hiking and biking trail that they have out there. And I had been doing a lot of running and walking on that trail just in the local area. But that was my goal one summer, was to do that when I went out to visit them. Now I'm just going to adhere this to that mat, black mat, with some glue. So that was my goal one day. And then, Justin was working. My son Justin was working, and my daughter-in-law Danielle was off. So she said she would take me to the Centennial Trail and drop me off, and then I would run to the Centennial Trail trailhead in Deer Park, close to Spokane Valley where they lived. And then she left her car there, and then I was be able to drive back to their house, which was all well and good. So, I get all ready to go, and I'm just going to go ahead, and as I'm telling my story, you can watch me adhere these things. I don't think I need to show you how to glue things down. Anyway, she takes me to the trail, and off I set on my journey. And this picture is a picture of me at the beginning of the trail where she dropped me off. And so I'm running my merry way, and all of a sudden I get to a business district. And I was obviously not on a hiking or biking trail anymore. I was on a street in a business district with all these businesses, and I had no idea where I was because I'm not familiar with that area. And I went into, it looked like a trucking dispatch business. And I asked them, where am I? And she said, basically, I was in another town, not even close to Spokane Valley. So I was panicking, and I didn't know what to do. So I called my son at work, and he wound up having to come and rescue me I didn't know where I was, so I had to try and explain to him where I was, and he finally found me. So naturally, when he got there, I burst into tears, and I jokingly said, you know how they always say that you take a dog to the country so that they are happier, when you have to put them down and you're telling your kids that you're taking them to a better place, to a farm in the country, and they'll be happier there. And I jokingly said, Danielle's taking me to a farm in the country, and lo and behold, I think she actually did take me to a farm in the country. But anyway, once he got there, he took me to the actual trail, and I did manage to run/walk all the way back to Spokane Valley, which was, I'm not sure how many miles, but it was a jaunt, and I was so proud of myself. But it was quite the adventure that day, I'll tell you, and I don't think I will ever forget it as long as I live. It was an adventure for me, for sure, and I'm not a person to be doing adventurous things on my own, so that was really, really out of my wheelhouse, that's for sure. So, all right, now I'm going to mount my pocket onto my page. So I will take the tear and tape backings off, revealing the stickiness. There we go. Got that all off. Then I'm going to put that down here, leaving a little white margin around the edge. Try to make it even. So yeah, that's a short story I love to tell. I don't know if Danielle really appreciates it that much, but it's a story. It happened. Not making it up. So that will go in there, as you see. And then I will get a piece of probably maybe some linen thread or twine or something. Let's see what I've got in my basket of goodies here. I'll take a piece of linen thread, and I will get my snips. They're buried under something here, I'm sure. And cut a piece of that, double it up. Easier said than done. Then I will put that through the front of the tag and make like a slip knot type deal. Pull that through. And then don't cut this too short, because I've done it before where I've cut this too short and then it kind of slides back and out of it, so I leave it kind of long. And then that'll go right in there. So not everybody can see the story unless, they want to actually read it. So that goes there. Then we will put, let's see, I'm trying to line this up so everything fits. I think I'll cut this down a little bit. That's a little bit large. I think I'll give it smaller margins. Where are we at right now? That's at 3, so I'll take 1/8 of an inch from the top. Let's see. Put this on the bottom. Let's see how that looks. Maybe some from the sides as well. Just a little bit. Oops. Oh, did I already cut that one? I twirled it around and didn't see where I went there. Okay, there we go. So that'll go down there. And I will adhere this to the... And as you can see, I used a piece of scratch paper that I had printed something accidentally on cardstock, and I didn't mean to, so I'm using that. Nobody will ever see it. Let no piece of paper go wasted in this household, let me tell you. So then we'll put this old hag down on the thing. All right, about, let's see if it's straight. I can't really tell. That looks pretty straight. And then my Spokane heading. And my trees down here. As you can see, this Cards in Memory has two different sides to each one. So some has writing on it and some has just patterns, and it's just beautiful. I love those cards. They come in handy for so many things. Whoops, twisting it around there. And then for a little added embellishment, I had taken the Evening Evergreen as well as white, and I ran them through the Wintry 3D embossing folder, which is a mini embossing folder. And I'll show you that right now. Let me grab a piece of, do I have an extra piece of, let's see, I don't. Thought I did. Well, I'll try the white. I'll just run an extra piece of white through there. Put this in the embossing folder. And you want the side that you want facing, that's embossed, you want on the Stampin' Up side face down, like that. Then again, I will take my little machine, and for the 3D folders, you need to use, now where did I put my plates? Do you suppose? Oh, right there in the machine. Duh. All right, so fold first, seam first into the machine, plate 1, then your embossing folder with your cardstock in it, and then plate number 4 is for the 3D ones, and then you just crank her through. Set that off to the side. And then as you can see, it has embossed the evergreen pine boughs onto the white. Then I took the Evening Evergreen and I just blended over the top of it. And then after I did that, I took the pine tree stamp, the pine tree punch, and I just punched out a tree using the punch, and it looks like a little pine tree with the pine boughs. So I did that with white, with the Evening Evergreen on top, and then I did another one just of Evening Evergreen. I did the same thing. I embossed it, but I didn't color it or blend any coloring on it. I just ran it through the embossing folder, and then I punched it again, and that gives it the texture on top that I think is really cool. And I'm just going to use those as a couple of embellishments on the top of the page. Forgot to adhere that one down. I'm getting quite a mess going on my desk here. I can hardly stand it. All right, let's put a few things aside here. Let's get that stuck down. And I'll put that maybe right about there. I kind of want to stagger things, not make them all exactly symmetrical. And then I think I will put a couple of trees up here. And let's see. Where would the other ones have gone, do you suppose? If you were a tree, where would you have gone? I'll just make another one. Try that. And that. Those over here. goes down. It's hard to tell which is the embossed and which is the debossed side, but I think that's the debossed side. So we'll put that down there. And I like when they kind of go over the mats and the, you know, kind of bringing it all together, not just on the white part, but on the hanging over the picture area there. Like that. And then these two guys over there. I'm hoping I'm not too far out of frame, but I have so much stuff on my desk, it's hard to set that off to the side. Oops. This video is really not the best. Let's see. All right, so here we are. This is our finished scrapbook page. And as I said, I don't have measurements or anything other than the dies that I use there, because everybody's scrapbook pages are going to be different. Nobody's going to be having the same size pictures or layouts. And this is just an idea of what you can do with some of the products to enhance your scrapbook pages without having to go out and buy a bunch of other products. And then this is a little sticker that pulls, or the little tag that pulls out, and so you can use all the products that you have on hand already and just make beautiful scrapbook layouts. And it really doesn't take that long once you have your layout in mind, and, you know, cut your things ahead of time, you know, plan out your colors and things like that. And it really doesn't take too long at all. So anyway, as I said, my name is Chris Gray. I'm from northern Wisconsin, and if you are interested in purchasing any products from Stampin' Up, I have a, oh, where's my paper? You can contact me at cgraystamper@gmail.com if you have any questions. I have a blog, and that's donorstamping.blogspot.com. And if you go to that blog post, which will be linked below, there will be a list of products that I used and a link that you can just click on one time, and you can, you know, order any of the products that you see or any other products that you might need from Stampin' Up. So if you're interested, please go ahead and check out my shop. I appreciate you watching me, and this is only my second video, so please be kind. No criticism, please. I criticize myself enough. So thanks again, and I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope it inspired you to create something with your pictures that are laying around in a box. So have a great day, and I hope you go ahead and go out and use those pictures and make a memory. Thanks. Bye.